Let's not dance around it. A man in California just got arrested for allegedly sniffing a stranger's butt at a Walgreens. Yes, you heard me. That's how this story starts. Not a robbery, not a shoplifting spree, not even a coupon scam. According to People magazine reporting on the case, police say this guy went straight for the rear end. And here's the kicker. This wasn't even his first arrest for doing it. Same month, different store. First Nordstrom, now Walgreens. Talk about loyalty programs nobody signed up for. Now picture it. You're standing in line at Walgreens, maybe holding a bottle of Advil or a bag of Sour Patch Kids, just trying to survive another Tuesday. Suddenly, someone sidles up behind you with way too much enthusiasm for the human anatomy. That's the nightmare police say played out here. And yes, the suspect is a registered sex offender, which means this isn't some quirky Florida man puts gator in the car story. This is someone with a criminal record allegedly doubling down on one of the dumbest repeat offenses imaginable. But it didn't stop there, because when police responded, they weren't dealing with some first-time offender caught off guard. No, they were dealing with a man who, less than a month earlier, had already been arrested for allegedly pulling the same stunt at a Nordstrom. Imagine being the officer flipping through that case file. Wait, didn't we just do this? The copy-paste button on that arrest report must be worn out. Here's the part nobody expected. Both incidents were caught on store surveillance, which means there is actual video evidence sitting in a police evidence locker right now of a man creeping behind shoppers like he's starring in the worst blooper reel of all time. Somewhere, some poor detective had to sit through frame-by-frame analysis of the approach and the sniff. This is why crime shows never cover Walgreens. Too absurd, too awkward, and way too hard to put background music behind. And just when you thought it couldn't get dumber, this all happened in California, a state with no shortage of bizarre headlines already. Wildfires, celebrity scandals, earthquakes, and now Butt-Sniffing Bandit. Imagine the local news anchor having to keep a straight face while reading that teleprompter. In tonight's top story, a man was arrested for, yeah, good luck not losing it live on air. Now let's do some role reversal. Picture being the Walgreens employee who had to call 911. How do you phrase that without breaking down laughing? Hi, police. We've got a situation in aisle 3. Yeah, a sniffing one. Or picture being the officer who has to radio this back to dispatch. Suspect apprehended. Charge? Sniffing. Somewhere, a dispatcher had to type that into an official log. Posterity is going to have questions. As if reality itself wanted to pile on, both cases made national headlines because of course they did. This isn't the kind of story you can keep local. Once Nordstrom was involved, people raised eyebrows. Once Walgreens joined the roster, the jokes wrote themselves. It's like he's working his way down a retail bingo card. Next stop, Target, CVS. God forbid Costco. Nobody needs a sniffing incident in the free sample line. And here's another loop for you. Police didn't just arrest him, they booked him into jail with bail set, which means some judge had to sit there, hear the charges read out loud, and keep a straight face while setting bail conditions. Court stenographers typed the word sniff into the official record of the state of California. Somewhere in the archives, this case is preserved forever, and future law students are going to trip over it in research. Now, let me pull you back in. Imagine if you were that Nordstrom shopper, thinking this was some one-off nightmare you could block out. Then you turn on the news and find out it's a pattern. That's when absurdity turns into déjà vu. And I don't care how many candles you light or how many times you sage your house. You're never shopping the same way again. What came next turned it into a full-on circus. National outlets ran the story with headlines like, Butt-Sniffing Bandit strikes again. Once you've got an alliterative nickname, it's over. You're not just a guy facing charges anymore. You're a headline character. And the internet eats that alive. It's like stepping into meme quicksand. There's no climbing out. So here we are. 1 month, 2 arrests, 2 retail chains, one ridiculous saga that's probably going to end up as the most embarrassing Wikipedia entry anyone could ever imagine. According to People magazine's coverage, this man is officially in custody, which means for now at least, Walgreens and Nordstrom shoppers can breathe a little easier. 2 stores, 2 arrests, 1 unforgettable headline. And if you thought that last fiasco was the peak of human weirdness, wait until you hear this one. Because only in Florida could a night of drinking end with a police report that uses the words molesting a manatee statue. Yes, that's a real sentence. According to Local 10's Weird News Desk, a 23-year-old tourist had himself a little too much fun outside a bar and decided the best way to cap it off was to grope a life-sized fiberglass manatee. Not a living animal, not a zoo enclosure, just a statue sitting there for decoration. And that's how we begin this saga. Now imagine you're walking up to a tiki bar, maybe thinking about ordering wings or a beer, and there it is, some guy, wobbling around, grinding on a sea cow cast in resin like it's prom night. That's the kind of sight you can't unsee. And it was enough for witnesses to call police, because apparently even the concrete manatees in Florida deserve better. Then it took another turn, because this wasn't just about the statue. According to reports, after his little aquatic encounter, the tourist decided to grab some gator nuggets and hurl them into the dining area. Yes, nuggets. Of all the possible drunk decisions, singing karaoke, falling off a bar stool, this guy goes for food-based projectiles. Picture yourself as one of the diners. You're halfway through your meal, minding your own business, when suddenly fried alligator is raining down like some twisted Everglades hailstorm. That's how you know the night's about to go downhill. And here's the detail that changes everything. The man didn't just stop when confronted. He doubled down, allegedly causing enough of a scene that police had to step in and make the arrest. Now think about the cop on the other end of that call. You're sitting in your cruiser, radio crackles. Unit 12, we've got a disturbance. Subject is molesting a manatee statue and throwing gator nuggets. That's the kind of dispatch where you look at your partner just to make sure you both heard the same words. But the absurdity kept piling up, because once word hit the newswire, this wasn't just another drunken, disorderly arrest. This was headline gold. Drunk tourist arrested for molesting manatee statue. That's the kind of line editors dream about. Short, shocking, and guaranteed to make readers spit coffee onto their keyboards. You don't even need a clickbait thumbnail for that. People are clicking whether they want to or not. Now, let's pull you into the scene. Imagine being the bartender. You're just trying to close tabs, maybe sweep the floor, and you look outside to see a tipsy tourist getting way too handsy with the bar's outdoor decor. How do you even report that? Yes, officer, the manatee was fondled. No, it didn't resist. Somewhere, that's written in an incident report. Official state paperwork that now lists molestation of a statue as a criminal detail. Bureaucracy doesn't get any funnier than that. As if reality itself wanted to top the headline, the gator nugget angle ensured this wasn't just bizarre, it was Floridian. Because only here can you combine drunk antics, questionable seafood appetizers, and endangered animal iconography into one police blotter entry. Other states get jaywalking or bar fights. Florida gets this. What came next turned the patio into a full-on circus. Witnesses say patrons were ducking flying nuggets, staff were calling authorities, and by the time officers arrived, the whole scene looked like a parody sketch. The suspect was arrested on disorderly conduct charges, according to Local 10, and hauled off to sober up somewhere less festive than a tiki bar, probably with plenty of time to think about how explaining this to family back home is going to sound. Yeah, son, we saw your mugshot in the paper. What's this about the manatee? You'd think it ended there, but the viral life of a headline like this means it's now permanently part of internet lore. From TikTok commentary to late-night jokes, this tourist's decision to treat a statue like a dance partner has been immortalized. Every Google search for Florida manatee statue, from now until the heat death of the universe, will bring this up. That's the real sentence he's serving. And here's where I pull you back in. Imagine if you were one of those out-of-state tourists just looking for a fun night out. You fly down, you want sunshine, a couple cocktails, maybe some key lime pie. Instead, you end up sitting 3 tables over while some guy starts tossing reptile hors d'oeuvres across the patio and copping a feel on marine life yard art. That's not the vacation brochure Florida sells, but it's the one you get. So let's close this out the way it deserves. 1 drunk tourist, 1 fiberglass manatee, 1 basket of wasted gator nuggets, and 0 dignity left to salvage. Authorities said the arrest is on the books. The bar got its statue back in one piece, and diners probably got free drinks just for sticking it out. But the story's immortal, because only Florida could give us this combination of aquatic molestation and fried reptile chaos. That's the news. Absurd, real, and straight from the source. Believe it or bullshit. Hit that subscribe button, because God knows what other insane news I'm going to dig up next time.